here I am, being a beginner, taking photos from home is a process. And being a beginner, or still being fairly new to doing this, I have yet to work out my kinks. I am still trying to make my process efficient. So I'm making a chocolate cake today. It's also for the husband's birthday tomorrow, so this is for him, but also because I need to have a chocolate cake on deck to make and photograph. And just to set up sometimes, it takes time. And this is part of the process of being a food photographer, or somebody who is a food photographer, does it at home for food bloggers. And I am a single person working by myself. I don't have a team. I'm doing all of this alone. And it is a process, and it is tiring sometimes because, again, I'm still recovering from surgery. I mean, I'm just at the 6-month mark, but it's still a recovery. And because my process, I have not nailed it to be extremely efficient or better. It means that I still have to navigate pain when from standing too long, that type of thing. So it sucks sometimes. I don't know how do influencers do it. I've been trying to capture this process while I'm in the middle of it. As a beginner, granted I'm not trying to be an influencer, but I'm trying to capture the process as I take these photos. And I had to turn the camera off because I spent more time out of the frame than in it. Really, the reason I don't do this typically because I can't get to focus to the camera, and I spend more time out of the frame than in it. And I don't have one of those cameras that follows me around because I'm using my iPhone. So, and the thing is, I'm not going to do this, film this just for the sake of filming it. I'm filming it while I'm actually doing it. So I'm not going to create a scenario that's not real. At least I won't, because that's more effort than I actually have capacity for most times. So that's why when I do cooking videos, I plan to intentionally spend the time and do the videos while I'm actually cooking. I'm not going to just cook to take the videos or take the video. You know what I mean? So maybe that's why for me it feels like hard work. You know, like how folks will intentionally set up a camera to capture them coming out of bed and that type of thing. I ain't gonna do that. I'm sorry. I know what the purpose of it is, but it's just not something I want to do. So I'm gonna take a video while I'm actually doing something. I don't know how much of this is going to be shown, or if I'm gonna even share this, because of all these pauses. Who wants to see that? I don't. If you do, I don't have anything really profound to say other than this is work. So anyone who dismisses what content creators actually do, I'm not going to do that because it does take work. I keep saying that, and I will continue to say that. And this work means use of energy. And if you're about energy management, it's important to manage it well but also make good use of the time, or make good use of the energy as you spend your time doing something. So for me, it's filming this while I'm actually doing it, because I'm not gonna make a cake for the sake of it. Yeah. And yeah, I'm using my dining table because it's closest to the kitchen. And until we get to the stage where we have a studio, then this will have to be, or this will have to work. Now I'm making a 6-inch single layer chocolate cake. And this is why when I test recipes, I make notes about the things that I experience versus what I expect. So based on the author or the food blogger's description, if they say the batter is going to be thick and you need to use a thick pan, this is a little thicker than what an average 6-inch pan would be, but still the batter is not as thick as I was expecting. So yeah, it's just not as thick as I thought it would have been, and otherwise I would have greased a smaller pan because I was expecting it to be a lot thicker. Maybe when it cooks it will rise to be twice the size, we will see. But the size of the pan for the cake for me is maybe too big, so my error, I think. So we'll see what happens when it bakes, but I need to photograph this anyway. I'm using a 50mm lens. But yeah, it's a small cake. I probably should have done it twice or done double the butter for this, because it's not giving me what I wanted to give. So this is the part of content creation that probably folks don't talk about, and is when the content when you don't get what you want and the amount of tries you have to make. Unfortunately with this, I don't have multiple tries. This is the one try. So now that I have it in the pan, I am going to put it in the oven, let it bake, and see what happens. So I turn everything off while that's happening. Check my shot list because I have to create a shot list. I missed a shot, but it'll have to do. This is my process. So that's all I want to share with you today where that is concerned. I want to finish up by just underscoring the fact that for me this is new, for me this feels cringe, but I'm sharing it anyway in hopes that it inspires somebody else who feels that they can't pursue something new, pursue something different, and instead of trying to be an influencer, may the aim be to have an impact. No, I want to have an impact. I'm not trying to be an influencer. And I want my impact to be of the simplest kind of impact. And that is, one, it's never too late to pivot, to try new things, to start over. Two, give 0 F's, basically. Because at the end of the day, you are the one responsible for your own well-being and happiness. And if you don't go after the things that you want, who will? nobody will go after it for you, nor will it be as impactful if somebody else does it for you. So if it's something that you want, go for it. And being a content creator doesn't mean that you have to be boxed in to any one thing. For me, food content is my lane. But putting out food content in the same way that others do is not something, or according to one specific way, it's not something that I subscribe to. Honestly, I'm just gonna go with what inspires me and eventually what the audience responds to. I try not to be hung up on that, because right now I don't know what the audience will respond to. I don't know what you will respond to. I don't know who will find value in this, but I know somebody will. And for me, this is more of a fun project for me. These daily videos are my way of increasing or expanding my skill set, but also expanding me, who I am as a person, how I express myself, and as a way of, I don't want to use the phrase come out of my comfort zone, because I can talk to anybody, quite frankly, and talk off them ears. Again, the issue for me, or has always been, making myself visible in the way that I have to command the attention, rather. It's one thing to let my work speak for itself, which is how I used to operate, or I'm of the mindset that I should let my work speak for itself. So I didn't need to show my face. I didn't need to be chatty about it. I should just let my work do the job. Problem is that, not a problem, but I do that still, but run up against the fact that if you don't talk your shit, nobody will. Granted, you have loyal, clients and customers who will rave about you, people who will recommend you and refer you. But at the end of the day, you, as the person creating the art, the person creating the content, you have to show up and be the person to say, hey, I do this, I create this, and this is of value to you, or this is of value to this person, and let people respond accordingly. So for me, this is my way of doing that and sharing the process, which is something I've never really been good at. Again, because of the time, I feel like trying to share the process and trying to do it at the same time is an energy suck. So I've had to really frame how I do that, but also planning is important for me. So for today, trying to share this process, had to set up, which I started the video and then had to stop because today was just felt chaotic, and I had to plan what I'm doing, which I normally do as far as shoots are concerned, plan them, but then plan how I'm going to share with you. So while I started out with the intention of, as I set up, the problem was I didn't have everything in the one spot to set up, plus coming out of the frame so often that it didn't make sense. So I shut the camera off and decided to come on at a point when I wasn't going to really move outside of getting the cake into the oven. So I don't know what today has been about, other than just me sharing what I am doing as part of the process. Now that I have that part of it done, what I typically do is I go into the program that I use, and I sort through photos, so it makes the process of editing a bit easier. I go out and call, literally immediately call all the photos that are good, meaning I take those, select the ones that I want to keep and remove the ones that I don't, and I drop them into the folder that I'm going to work on them as far as editing them is concerned. And then I will some of the edits, I'll do basic edits, so that when I take the remaining photos after the cake bakes and I put on the frosting, and then I apply those edits to the photos that I do take and call and send. So I am building a system as I go along, as I practice more, as I do more of this. And hopefully the intention is to become efficient, so efficient that my entire shoot time is limited, minimized, or it comes down to no more than a specific time. And I don't want to share what my current time frame is, because it is quite a lot for me anyway, and I'm trying to cut that down. I'm like really trying to cut it down, so I'm not going to share that. I don't want to embarrass myself further than I already have. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. Create content, share the process, or share the parts of the process that feel okay for you to share. Especially if you're a food blogger, food content creator, share the parts that you find joy in sharing. So for me, sharing this piece, now that I have that thing baking, I can sit down and chat and share what has happened, what is happening, what's going to happen. And because I plan also, that's making it easier. Because my toxic trait is I will just get up and decide I want to do this. And I think that has always been the issue with me and creating content, where I just get up right away and be like, okay, I feel like I'm going to do this. The problem sometimes is my energy doesn't match what's required. So the energy I have doesn't match the amount that's required to carry out the thing. So sometimes by the time I get the camera set up, I'm like, no, we ain't doing this. Or, when I think about all the steps that might be involved, especially if I'm trying to film something that's new, and all the steps are involved, and I either have a short window of time to do it, or it's on a day when I have other things to do, or I'm just mentally not in that space, or mentally I'm not as organized as I should be to do that, or I don't have enough information to do it. I just get up and say I have the idea, but then when I look at what I actually can do, sometimes it's too overwhelming. I'm like, forget it. So my solution to that is have the idea, drop down the idea of what I want to shoot sometimes, when I get a random idea, and look back to see if I already have content that I can use, or when I can just film that. So maybe the next time I make a particular thing, I can share that. So cake has finished baking. Now I'm going to take the final bake pictures before the frosting goes on. I'm wondering why I'm not hearing it connect. That's because I don't have it connected. See what I mean when I say it's a lot of moving parts trying to capture process on camera. Because it is. But I'm committed to doing something. I might not have the bandwidth all the time. I need to always try, at the very least. Let's see what we get. The part that feels like a struggle for me, trying to capture this. And I think my thing here, my camera is lean. See, again. I haven't changed anything, but compared to, I think this is what's changed. I had a bigger whiteboard, so it bounced more light. So let's put it back on so So this is the part that I'm talking about. trying to share this process and talk at the same time. Jamaicans are saying you can't ride and whistle. I feel like that is me. Can't ride and whistle. I mean, I can always try. But in this instance, because my focus is on this and at the same time trying to talk, is just hard. But I'm just sharing bits of it. But all I've learned from this thus far, this is day 7 of me doing these videos, is that show up however you need to and be as not as imperfect, but if it's imperfect, it's imperfect. What will land will land. What needs to land will land with whoever it needs to land with. Today is just a rambling day, quite frankly, and I have no other. I'm sure there are plenty of things I could talk about, but this is what my mind is on, and so I thought I would share that process with you all. And as I make adjustments to this is it. I'm not taking anything else. Cake is gonna cool and we will frost it later. And then I'll take those pictures as well. But taking the picture of the frosted cake is an entire thing. I have like 10 to 12 heroes that I'm gonna do. So that's a tomorrow situation. Because I don't have the head space to do that tonight. So yeah, this is part of my process. It's messy, it's inefficient right now, but as I continue to do it, it will get better. Thank you for sticking with me today. I forgot to set the timer, but I fixed that. And this is me. So that's me and my ramblings today. Thank you so much for watching, and I am going to go lay down. Bye.